So tell me, I've had a little look through your kind of career progression. Um, I firstly want to dive into Hilton Hotel for Dogs. Love that you use
Yes.
your surname um, for utilizing that
We
massively.
actually came up with it on honeymoon, actually. Unfortunately, I'm divorced now, but
Oh,
yeah, it was my husband at the time. He was just like, oh, you could open a dog homeboarding business because I just got made redundant just before the wedding, from my whole science career,
yeah.
and yeah, because basically they moved my job to Sweden, and and you're just like, oh, what do we do now? And yeah, it was his genius idea. And so I opened up that with Lola. So you and I have just been discussing her. So she was a Rottweiler. She passed away 2 years ago, at 8 years old, quite suddenly actually. So still getting over that kind of shock. But no, she was the concierge of Hilton Hotel for Dogs. So she was the kind of the calm, for any of the dogs that might have been anxious or anything. I mean, she helped me as well.
Mm,
But
yeah.
but yeah, she was the calm, but also the chief play person as well. But yeah, it was so that was my venture into the doggy world after my science career. So it was
Nice.
yeah, it's quite
So
nice.
that was at your own home?
Yes. Yeah, so that was and apparently there wasn't any copyright issues because it was Hilton worldwide that they were the same. So but nobody's actually come back to me apart from the LinkedIn are attaching me to all Hilton hotels, and I'm like, it's nothing to do with that, but you may know other people. You may
Amazing.
know other people in Hilton. It's like I don't think I do.
Um, but then you stopped that 3 years later.
Yes, because when I started that, I actually found that I missed my science.
Mm,
Because I did enjoy the science. I just didn't enjoy kind of the monotony behind it. I became a lab monkey, and then realised that the reports weren't something I was comfortable with. And now it's kind of now I know it's like that borderline ADHD dyslexia,
oh,
stuff, which was preventing me from, which is why a lot of us are great with dogs and the practical side, and especially the using my hands with anything, but anything
mm.
and focusing on anything. So yeah, my website might be a little bit sparse with blogs, even though I've got a lot of ideas up in my head. It's just the confidence in getting it down on paper, or the time that I need to give myself to give it on paper. Um,
Love that. And I've got a tip for you. We're joining this just so that I can pick your brains, but
yeah,
I'm here to coach and help and support any way I can as well. Do you have a voice recorder on your phone? If
yes, I do.
take a walk and voice it out, because actually transcribing something from a voice sounds so much more personable and like you than if you had
Yeah,
sat in front of a computer with a blank piece of paper and went blah 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 blah, and because then you edit yourself as you go. Whereas if you
yeah.
just walk and talk as if you're talking to your friend, this is the communication that I want to get out to you. When you transcribe it, it sounds so much better in written form. um
Yeah, and that's something that I've been wanting to do as well, because I have realized that when I'm in front of a client, I can explain this pain prevention tip, or this particular massage technique, or the reason why this works because of my science background.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's no, it's a very good. I will add that to my to my hint and tip list.
I love it. I love it. I'm just here to serve. The more I can serve the canine professionals of the world, the better we can look after dogs. So that's where I come from.
Yeah,
That's my
exactly.
that's my thing, really. So, um, your tell me about the canine clinical massage. How did you become aware of it? Obviously, with your science background, I bet you were really attracted to, the actual practical
Yeah.
results that you can get. So tell me, how did that come about? And you did the 2 year study. Am I
Yes,
correct in
yes. So I
thinking?
did the 2 years, and it's quite funny because I always tell everybody that I missed my science, and then the Canine Massage Therapy Centre advert, found me. It was all perfect timing. I mean, now we know it's the Facebook algorithm. However, I still like to think it was my destiny, and quite frankly, it wasn't. The algorithm wasn't as good. However many years ago it was, like 2015, I think it was when I ended up finding the advert. But yeah, it was. So I've always loved the massage when I was a kid. So I actually did a night school course many years ago on aromatherapy, reflexology, and Swedish massage. But I never did anything with it because it wasn't a proper career. It wasn't seen as that back then.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
mean, now, especially since COVID, we all know about our own self-care as
Mm.
well. But no, I've always loved the massage, and then obviously loving the dogs and seeing those pain points that I hadn't quite realized before, and I knew that massage could help with those. And so yeah, I used my redundancy money to pay for the course. So that was 2 years. Um, Back then we thought it was about over 800 hours of study. But now we know it, we think it's probably a lot more than that. Now that they're kind of citing 1,200 hours of self-study. But yeah, for me, especially with the learning difficulties, it was kind of, I mean, the course was basically set out with so much anatomy and physiology as well. So there were
Mm.
12 modules. So we covered, the skeletal system, the muscles, including insertion and origin points. And it got easier as we went on. But with my science stuff, the nervous system, the heart, and the skin, those kind of systems were all ones that I knew before, and the lymph system as well. So the draining of how the body drains the toxins, because there's a lot of overlap between, well, a lot of similarities between the canine anatomy and physiology and the human anatomy and physiology. So it's quite interesting having conversations with people about that as well, because that's one of my plus points. And we were talking about the marketing earlier on. I really do love explaining it because I put it into layman's terms for myself to understand it.
Yeah, and that's what people
And then
need. You don't need to confuse them. You confuse
no,
them, you lose
exactly.
them.
And I did that for a long time. So I'm stuck in my science brain, and this needs to be explained this way, and this needs to be explained in vet language. And
Mm.
half of the vets actually don't understand half of the stuff that I started coming out with, like hypertonicity and such a muscle. And you're like, oh, okay. Half of the vets didn't even know where that muscle was. And you're like,
Mm.
okay. So it's quite interesting the fact that we become muscular experts, and so the science knowledge, but the intuition that I've learned to adapt as well and spot that interaction with the dogs as well. I mean, I love that. I think I've probably gone off topic, but
It
but
sounds like you love it.
but the canine massage itself. So I studied more intensely for that than the humans, but I have actually started helping the dog owners as well, and
Really?
offering massage to them, because I realized with a lot of the client communication, they can't keep up with their dogs once I've actually helped their dogs. On walks. So it's like, right, okay, can you sort my back and shoulders out? So
And you're
um,
in their home anyway, so why not? I
well,
love
this
it.
is it,
That's
and
all
it
good.
obviously cuts down on travel expenses because I'm a mobile therapist.
Yeah.
But no, because obviously I'm based up in New Brighton now, which is on the Wirral.
Mm.
But for a lot of your listeners, I'm part of the Canine Massage Guild, so we all trained on the massage therapy center, and Canine Guild are delivering on randomized controlled trials, which actually fits into my old work as well, so I actually know what's going on with it. And
Haley,
that's
just let
yeah.
me,
So
your internet cut out then.
oh, okay, sorry, but
Tell
yeah,
me about the massage guild again, just so that we can capture that.
yeah. So the Canine Massage Guild, they are made up of a lot of therapists from all across the country, basically, and we've all we've all trained and studied with the Canine Massage Therapy Centre, so we've all got the same skills. So it's easy for us to refer from one to the other as well. So I've referred to lots of local therapists in lots of areas that your listeners are probably from.
Mm.
So I know we've got a therapist registered that they can do that. But we've got we're the first group to invest in clinical trials, which
Okay.
actually cuts back to my own science career as well, because I used to study a lot of those myself.
Yes.
So that's quite interesting, the fact that I know a little bit more about it, and can explain in those layman's terms to my clients again. But at least we've got that, gold standard of published peer review in a peer reviewed journal, of some results as proving our efficacy, as well as just our customer testimonials. Because as we all know,
Absolutely.
customer testimonials can be made up. I mean, I don't think any of mine are, but but yeah, it's quite humbling anyway, those testimonials. But it's quite good to get the scientific proof of the efficacy of how massage can help with pain levels.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There has been a big achievement in the last year with insurance companies
Mm.
actually now recognizing massage as a genuine therapy for dogs. So that was a big win.
Yeah, and the Canine Massage Guild, as far as I'm aware, there's a few of our members who have been integral to trying to liaise with those insurance companies as well. Because I know Pet Plan definitely include us in the complementary medicine. Because obviously we're complementary because we complement the vet's work.
Yes.
I mean, we can be alternative as well, but
Mhm.
obviously, but mainly we work alongside your vet, because the combination of that, getting the right medication for the right dog and reducing the sensitivity in the muscles, which are then kind of working together. So it's quite good. You just in case there's anything else that needs to be um,
Absolutely.
yeah, addressed later on.
And I love all of the credibility that the guild is creating because then that creates certainty for massage therapists to be able to sell themselves because you need to have that certainty embodied yourself, and having that research to lean on is really helpful when you are going, no, this is what I'm going to charge and this is why, and this is why
Yeah,
you're going to see me X amount of times.
yeah, exactly. Because we get quite a lot of people, especially the vets, because hydrotherapy and physiotherapy are well known complementary therapies as well. And there's always a not every therapy is good for every dog at every time. And I'm often saying, well, yeah, the quite a lot of the other ones, the hydrotherapy and the physiotherapy can sometimes exacerbate any muscular issues that are going on, because if one muscle isn't working right and then the other three are overcompensating, they're then prone to straining. And
Mm.
so if you bring them to a massage therapist, we can isolate that muscle, get any of the hypertonicity out. So if the rock hard muscle and it's just not working right because it's not resting right,
Mm.
or any strains, we can ease that scar tissue off, and then get them all back working as a group, and then we can forward the dog to either physiotherapy or hydrotherapy. So
Nice.
these,
So you're not taking away from physio or hydro, you're just saying let's get isolated to the cause of the problem
yeah,
and then send them forward. So it's part of um
yeah, I'm very much a whole, like abundance
holistic.
mentality. I
Yeah.
I love. I'm in it for the dogs, quite frankly. I'm not in it for
Okay.
the money. Hence why I hate asking for money. But obviously, I need it myself. To put a roof over my head. Um, but yeah, it's great working alongside these therapists, and having that interaction. I've had a couple of interactions with a couple of clients that we've shared with a physiotherapist, so we
Nice.
actually knew a little bit more about each other, and so obviously they're more into the movement and the exercise prescription the that the owners can help, and that's it. It's empowering the owners as well, because quite a lot of the time they like chuck all the money at the operations when that could
Mm.
have actually been prevented. You didn't need that. And then as well, the most hilarious thing that I always think is like, oh well, our dog isn't doing so well with hydrotherapy, but they don't like water. And you're like, well, yeah, you're not gonna love a therapy that in a platform that you hate. So it's like that's where I can come in as well.
Yeah. And I really like the kind of them relaxing in their own home kind of element
Yes.
of home to home care. I say that as a home to home groomer myself. My dogs usually fall asleep on the table.
Yeah,
Under
our Lola used to as well, and I have actually had quite a few of my clients have fallen asleep as well, and then kind of woken up and go, oh, what happened then?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Um, so I would love to find out more about Hayley. And this
Yeah,
part
I
is
do
just
have
for
a bit
us.
of
So
a varied past. I think that's the ADHD coming in that I never knew about.
I love it though. I think it all adds into the ultimate package that you end up delivering.
Yes.
So actually, the more knowledge you gain throughout life, it's like stacking just power and expertise so that you can then best serve somebody. I just love it. I think it's great. I'm also very similar. Um, but Hayley, what makes Hayley stay awake at night when it comes to business? I don't need to go here. I'm not going to therapy you today. I don't want to know about your
You can
business.
therapy me all day. I don't mind. I'm and I that is I'm an open book. My business is called Hands on Heart, and basically that came about in a shamanic retreat. So I was in a 24-hour vigil in a tent by myself in a forest, and was like I was really struggling. It was towards the end of my studies, and I was like I'm struggling on a business name. I didn't want to attach it to a specific location like a lot of other therapists have done,
Mm.
but because yeah, and it was just that I mean. I've actually moved house to New Brighton, so that was quite handy. I've moved house a couple of times during the business.
Yeah.
Um, but the hands on heart came to me, in a dream on whether or not you believe in that or not. It was another thing that chose me, and it was yeah. It's I've kind of grown into the name. So hands on heart, I can't lie for SH1T. I've always said that. I wear my heart on my sleeve
Oh.
now as well. So we started that, but I do, and as I said, I'm an open book. But it was originally so that obviously it's a hands-on therapy. It's very heart-based. Dogs are very heart-based, but it also works on the cardiovascular system, and helps promote overall health. Um, there's been a lot of things like that, but yeah, they're like hands on heart. I do care for my customers, for my clients. They become friends. The dogs become friends,
Yeah.
and that's why I want to get into a bit more of the bereavement counselling as well, because
Okay.
having lost my own Lola 2 years ago,
Mm.
it's still with me. She's still with me. But I have so many clients saying to me, "Oh, but there's such a dog. I shouldn't be feeling this way." It's like, give over. They were your whole life. I
Yeah.
heard that recently about the fact that dogs may they may be our friend for a little bit of our life, but we're their friend for the entire of their life.
Yeah.
And it's like that brings it whole into perspective. And dogs bring us just so much joy. My flatmate, bless her, she's got a lovely little cockapoo called Vinny, and it just makes me smile whenever he comes over and brings. I mean, I gave him one of Lola's old toys actually, when I
Mm.
moved in, and it's kind of his favorite sprout. He'll bring it to me whenever I come in the room as well, and he's like, look, I'm playing with it, look. And he's not one normally who plays. So it's lovely to do that, and that is what brings, because a lot of my business is from my heart, but a lot of I'm from my heart as well.
Mm.
Even though for the majority of my life it was a lot of head based. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? But if you lead with your heart,
Mm.
you can get so much more value out of life itself. Whether
Oh,
that's whether that's
beautiful.
you or your dog. Yeah, I know that just came through.
I love it. I love it. I'm glad we're recording.
But yeah, it is, and it's like working with professionals like yourself as well. If we can share this value or just the pleasure that dogs give us. But yeah, there's so many things. My brain's just gone on lots of different tangents about getting the right dog for you and your family and everything like that now. But obviously, this isn't what we're talking about.
I love that. And working from your heart, that can be what I tend to find with our canine specialists is that like burnout happens quite a lot because we're very empathetic. So we give and we give and we give, and we've got
Maybe.
this cup and it's there, and then suddenly it's empty and we can't give anymore, and we're the one that ends up with that strain. So, what do you find is most challenging for you in your business?
At the moment, the meditation and the deep breathing, because I've got the last bit of a cough and a cold. So actually, amusingly, the self care isn't actually helping at this moment in time. Um, but yeah, it's that taking. I think of taking the time every day to enjoy a bit of life every day, rather than it just being work, work, work.
Mm,
A lot of the mindfulness of actually just enjoying the time and connecting with whether it's life itself or with your dog.
mm.
Just putting your hands on your dog, or somebody else's dog in my case. But it's just having that interaction and allowing yourself to smile
Yeah,
at even the smallest things, even if it's just like, oh, you nutter, like you're digging up the beach. What are you doing that for? But it's like just seeing the smile on the dog's face brings a smile to my face. Um, but yeah, I think that's it. And it's just staying true to yourself. Probably not listening to all the things that are out there and everybody who's saying what you should be doing.
mm,
Um, because I'm still in that I'm still, what's the word, conditioned. So
yeah,
I'm still conditioned as to thinking with my my head, and
approval.
doing things that other people tell me that I should be doing. But actually, I get more benefit out of life when I am doing what when I'm called to do. Or
Absolutely.
yeah, even if it's just a call from one of my clients going like, I'm broken, I've had a really rough couple of days, can you come round? And I did that last Sunday evening,
Yeah,
and went to see one of my regular clients, and she slept a lot better since. um so that was, the just significantly reducing the pain in my humans as well as my dogs.
right.
And that just taking that moment to go, yes, I've done that. I've achieved that today. Rather than always moving on to the next thing, which I have a habit of doing, going like, right, what else needs doing on my to-do list because I'm so behind. But actually thinking, no, I've achieved this. I've achieved that. I've made somebody smile, or I've made somebody's day, in so many different ways. Um, So thank you for asking me the question, because yeah, because I forget my own advice a lot of the time. We're always great at giving
Oh,
people advice,
yeah,
aren't we?
that always seems to be the way, doesn't it? And I've actually just been to a 2-day summit with incredible speakers, and one of the speaker, Dawn Willocks, said that approval is the biggest profit stealer of your business. Like,
Yes,
how many times have you
you have
stopped yourself from putting that advert out there or speaking to that person because you're worried that that might tick someone else off? Or um, whose rules are you living by? Because you've said it perfectly there. Like, when you are in your own heart and doing everything from your heart center, um,
yeah,
you get way more fulfillment and joy than if you're just thinking, this is what I'm meant to do, or somebody thinks I should do this and then I should go do that. Like, does it really make you happy doing that? No. So we
yeah,
should do what makes us light up.
yes,
Mm.
definitely.
Um, Thank you so much, Hayley.
That's
I'm gonna um, stop the recording there from our wonderful community because I could talk to you for hours, but I like doing
by
it as
all means, and if
well.
anybody else wants to talk to me for hours as well, then yeah, feel free to give my details out.
I will, absolutely. Hayley's obviously got a lot of valuable insights. So if you are any type of therapist and want someone who has got a lot of science background and is in the world themselves, then Hayley is the person to
Yeah,
connect with.
and that's it. If anybody wants to get into this kind of career as well, then
Mm.
just do it with hands. Yeah, just hands on heart. But there's somebody said to me one bit of advice was there's enough dogs to go around.
Absolutely. Yes, we take
And
this a lot.
this has stuck with me for like when I did the Hilton Hotel for dogs.
Mm.
But there's there's enough that need our help, and as you said, if we can get them all off the pain medication and things like that as
Mm.
well. But I'm all open to to any discussion anyway. So, but this has been wonderful. Thank you.
You are so welcome.